move that I believe is too little too late, the DNC, chaired by Ken Martin, is apparently looking into restricting the role of corporate and dark money in their presidential primaries. Now, Martin says he plans to introduce a resolution at the DNC's August meeting calling on a new reforms panel, to explore ways that the party can eliminate corporate and dark money donations from the upcoming presidential primary cycle. It's according to a draft obtained by CNN. Martin's resolution, if passed, would task the new panel to explore exactly what those other actions could be, calling on the Committee on Reforms to identify and study real enforceable steps the DNC could take to eliminate unlimited corporate and dark money in the 2028 presidential primary process. The reforms panel would also develop a list of legislative goals to present to Congress. They plan on presenting their proposal to the full DNC next summer, in which members will vote on the resolution during their summer meeting in Minneapolis, which takes place from August 25th to the 27th. So, look, you might think, great. Yes, they're going to do a panel. But my cynicism is way up here. Cynicism. What I'm asking, why do you need a reforms panel for this? I think the solution is pretty obvious. Ban corporate money. Ban super PAC spending. And when it comes to your candidates, you can do that. Obama overturned those reforms. I'm just saying. That would be the easy thing to do. That would be the obvious thing to do. But it's the Democrats, of course, so there's going to be massive loopholes, big enough to drive a truck through. Already, the draft resolution does not explicitly mention banning super PACs. And it's not clear whether it will ultimately restrict super PAC spending in party primaries. So already, this is nothing. The draft concedes that the only way to solve this problem in the long term is through congressional action and including a constitutional amendment to overturn Citizens United. So basically what I am seeing here is passing the buck. Hey man, what can we do? Let's just do a reform panel. Oh, okay. Sure. Look. Oh, but we could also overturn Citizens United. How? Currently, Republicans have a 6-3 supermajority on the court. And they're going to have it for the next generation. So that's not going to happen anytime soon. And Congress is owned by the owner-donors. They're not going to pass anything to prevent this. They're not going to do meaningful reform. So, look, all this talk from Martin and the DNC feels really performative to me. It does. I'm not convinced that Democratic leadership would ever cut off the money spigot from billionaires and corporations. I just don't see it. I think it is inconceivable that they would ever really meaningfully stop the flood of money in our elections on their side. I just don't see it. Maybe I'm being unfair, but I just don't see it. I have no faith in this whatsoever. And again, billionaires, by the way, and here's the ironic thing, billionaires are one of the reasons that Kamala Harris lost in the first place. No, it wasn't transgender people, okay? No, it was billionaires. Look, the consultant class that gets paid whether or not Harris or whoever's running wins or loses, okay? The consultants told Harris not to talk about taxing the rich, not to talk about taking on corporate greed, not to talk about, we're gonna meaningfully go after corporations that are, raising prices on everyday Americans, that are price gouging us. They told her not to meaningfully, promise that she's going to guarantee health care for every person in this country, guaranteeing it through Medicare for all. No, the owner donors, they said, shut up about that stuff and go travel around the country with Liz Cheney to talk about protecting democracy. They ceded all the economic discussions to Donald Trump. I mean, honestly. And yes, I've talked about some of her policies, which were not bad. Didn't go far enough, but they were not bad. And they would have actually helped people. Okay? Yes, helping new homeowners with a $25,000 bonus. Great. Awesome. Yeah, that would have done some good. Okay? But Trump took all the normal meat and potatoes kitchen table issues that you could understand, and he talked about them endlessly. Right? Oh, I'm going to lower grocery prices. I'm gonna get rid of inflation. Gone. I'm gonna lower. I'm gonna get rid of paying for pharmaceuticals. Okay, for prescription drugs. He's out there claiming that he cut the price of prescription drugs by 1,500%. We know that that's not true. None of it's true. He lied. He lied. And look, he's done the opposite of all of that. Things are way more expensive. Inflation is up. The rich are gaining greatly from his tax cuts. And the poor are suffering import taxes and everything in a bad economy. Okay? So, that's the reality of the situation. And look, Bernie Sanders, by the way, he recently told Dana Bash on CNN, quote, I like Kamala, she's a friend of mine, but her core consultants, we're very influenced by wealthy people. How do you run for president and not develop a strong agenda which speaks to the economic crises facing working families? Well, this is how. This is how. When you have large corporate donors and groups like AIPAC that crush progressives who dare call for economic justice or rights for Palestinians, taxing the rich, helping poor people. Okay, look, that's how this gets crushed. Okay, they propped up aging Democratic leadership who still, for some reason, lives in the 1990s or 1980s. Both, they're still crapping themselves over Reagan beating Mondale, and they run away from anything that's considered to be socialism, of which the definition is, according to Republicans, which has been expanded by Republicans, to mean anything that doesn't help rich people. That's what they consider to be socialism, and Democrats run away from it. The establishment does. The way that the party currently is structured, I do not believe will ever get rid of their corporate influence, which is costing them elections. And as a result, they're going to continue to lose to fascists while trying to appeal to the mythical moderate never Trump Republican. You know how many of those turned out for Kamala Harris during the election? None. Zero. No, only a full house cleaning of everybody in Democratic leadership, replacing them with progressives, leftists, like Mamdani, for example, will come close to starting to right the ship. So at the moment, I'm sorry, this talk of reform, to me, feels too little too late. Am I being too harsh? Perhaps. I just think now it is too little too late. We are in the midst of fascism. Okay? I think this should have happened at least 10 years ago, if not earlier. Getting the corporate money out of the Democratic Party. But then again, I mean, hindsight, 2020. No, I think anybody who's been paying attention to what's wrong with our politics can easily point out that it is the money in politics that has brought us to where we are today with the troubles that we have. Corporate lobbying, corporate money, creating weak Democrats that lose to populist demagogues on the right. That's the reality of the situation. And so, look, Ken Martin, he may actually mean it. Maybe. But unless we see some real action, to me, this is going to be nothing more than performative that will not amount to anything. Prove me wrong. Please, for the love of God, prove me wrong. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.